Did you know that once every year the cosmos opens a portal, a night when time slows, the mind loosens, and consciousness becomes easier to access? That night is known as Mahashivratri. It falls on the Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi of the Magh month, the 14th night of the waning moon, when darkness is at its deepest and silence is at its most potent. This is not just a festival, it is a cosmic invitation. Because tonight, what usually takes lifetimes can be in a single moment. Most nights, the world sleeps. On this night, the universe stays awake. Most people celebrate, few awaken. Mahashivratri is not about doing more, it is about dropping everything that is false. Not a night of noise, a night of stillness so deep that it begins to breathe. Tonight, Shiva does not ask for flowers. He does not ask for performance. He asks for truth. Mahashivratri means far more than fasting or rituals. Maha, that which is beyond time, beyond limitation. Shiva, not a person on Kailash, but pure consciousness itself. Ratri, not darkness, but the womb where transformation happens. Mahashivratri is a night where effort softens, identity loosens, and awareness rises naturally. It is a night when the human does not reach upward, the infinite bends inward. There is a reason Mahashivratri carries many stories, because Shiva does not meet everyone the same way. To some, he comes as a lover, to some, as a destroyer, to some, as silence, to some, as truth too intense to escape. Mahashivratri is not one story, it is many doorways. The story of Shiva and Parvati. Parvati is reborn, not as a princess seeking comfort, but as a soul seeking union. She renounces luxury, she lives on leaves, then on air, then on nothing but resolve. Years pass. Shiva does not come, not because he is distant, but because Shiva never responds to desire. He responds to authenticity. When Parvati's tapas no longer feel like effort, when devotion stops being an action and becomes her state of being, that's when Shiva opens his eyes. And the aesthetic becomes a husband. This is why Mahashivratri is remembered as their union, not as a wedding of two beings, but as the moment when consciousness and energy come into balance. Because union does not happen when life becomes perfect, it happens when resistance drops. And this is why Mahashivratri is not one story, but many doorways. Once, even the gods argued. Brahma claimed creation, Vishnu claimed preservation, and suddenly a pillar of fire appeared. No beginning, no end. Vishnu dove downwards, searching for the base. Brahma flew upwards, searching for the top. Neither could find a source. Then Shiva emerged and said, I am not above you. I am that from which you arise. This is why Shiva is worshipped as the Jyotirlinga, not as a form, but as a light without boundary. Because truth is not something you conquer, it reveals itself when ego collapses. Another legend goes that during the churning of the cosmic ocean, something unexpected happened. Before the nectar rose, before reward, poison surfaced first. The universe panicked. No one wanted it. No one could contain it. Shiva stepped forward. He drank the poison, but he did not swallow it. He held it in his throat. pain remained, destruction stopped. Shiva became the Neelkantha. This is not only a story of sacrifice, it is a story of awareness. Because healing does not come from avoiding poison, it comes from holding it consciously without letting it spread. There's also a story when the river Ganga descended from the heavens. Her force was enough to shatter the earth. Shiva caught her in his matted locks. He broke the fall. He softened the impact. Only then did Ganga reach humanity. Power without grounding destroys. Awakening without stability overwhelms. Not all energy is meant to rush. Some must be held gently. First time the Tandava was performed. When ignorance reaches its peak, Shiva dances. Not in rage, in precision. The Tandava does not destroy life, it destroys illusion. From stiffness, movement arises. From silence, creation begins again. Sometimes growth looks like chaos. Trust the dance. Mahashivratri is observed on the Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi of Magh Mahina, the fourth night from Magh Purnima. The moon governs the mind, and on this night, the moon is almost absent, which means the mind loosens its grip. The ancient seers noticed this. They observed that when the lunar pool weakens, mental noise softens and awareness becomes accessible. That is why Mahashivratri is not celebrated on a bright full moon day, but on the darkest, quietest night. Because Shiva is not found in brightness, he is found in stillness. This is why yogis stay awake, not to fight sleep, but because consciousness itself supports wakefulness. This night helps you do less and become more aware. Long before temples and ritual, Shiva appeared in the Vedas. In the Rig Veda, he is called the Rudra, the fierce one, the storm, the healer who destroys diseases to protect life. The same force that terrifies is also called Shiva, the auspicious one, because destruction without awareness is violence, but destruction with awareness is liberation. In the Yajurveda, this understanding deepens through the chant known as the Sri Rudram. This is not a prayer for favors. It is a systematic surrender to our inner enemies. Fear, anger, arrogance, attachments, ignorance. The chant bows to Rudra in fire, in water, in breath, in death. As if to say, if Shiva is everywhere, then nothing in me is outside transformation. That is why Rudra Abhishek matters on this night, not as a ritual performance, but as an inner purification. The Puranas later explain why Shiva is worshipped and not as an idol, but as the linga, not as a body, but as the excess of existence, that which has no beginning and no end, yet holds everything together. The great Mahabharata reminds us that Shiva grants strength only after suffering ends. Arjun does not receive power through skill, he receives it when ego bows, because Shiva does not empower the proud, he empowers the empty. Mahashivratri has always been a portal night. Nath yogis, Shaiva ascetics, Tantric seekers, they use this night for deep meditation, mantra siddhi, and karmic releases. What the yogi called liberation, the modern mind calls healing. On this night, Shiva becomes the inner therapist who listens without judgment, the inner healer who absorbs pain without rejection, the inner guide who destroys illusion without destroying you. Mahashivratri supports the release of trauma, the dissolving of guilt, the breaking of addiction, the strengthening of willpower, not through force, through awareness. Now, the world we live in, the significance of Mahashivratri becomes more relevant. It is necessary for stress relief, for clarity, for decision making, for restoring balance in relationships, for rebuilding discipline. You do not need a cave, you need honesty. Let me teach you, instead of doing heavy sadhana or mantra japs, how you can go ahead and celebrate Shivratri at the comfort of your home. On the night of Shivratri, sit comfortably. Let the spine rise naturally. If you wish, light a small lamp or just simply sit in silence. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly. Exhale completely. With every breath, release fear, release guilt, release resistance. Mentally chant Om Namah Shivaya. Not loudly, not forcefully. Like a whisper to your own soul. Visualize a steady flame in your heart. No effort, no expectations. Remain as the witness. Mahashivratri is not something you observe, it is something you become. When silence turns sacred, when ego bows, when awareness stands tall, that night Shiva happens. On the night of Shivratri, do not ask, what should I do for Shiva? Ask instead, what must die in me? Because liberation happens only after surrender.